Hello and welcome to the Winners Find a Hello and welcome to the Winners Find a Way show. I am your host, Trent M Clark, and everyone knows me as Coach Trent. Super excited to have you join us today on the Winners Find a Way show. Always a lot going on here in West Michigan today. I am near home, which is nice and kind of rare. So that's super exciting for me. Today, I want to talk a little shop about what we're doing, talking a little bit about mental toughness today. And let me just share here, add this to the stage a little bit about me, which is always the things that are going on and what's happening in the world, right? And so, a little bit about me is I am a coach to the 1%, or a trusted advisor, and wrote a book called Leading Winning Teams. And I am an entrepreneur. I started over 12 companies, I think 14 now. And I am a 15-year member of the Entrepreneurs Organization and a three-time World Series coach, as most people probably know me for that, being the fact that I coached a long time in professional baseball. But I'm also obviously the host of this podcast, both Winners Find a Way and Winning Ways, where you can find both those podcasts out now. And I have been involved with NIL education, been involved with vacation real estate, what we call STR, short term rentals, investing in that space. And then also, as an entrepreneur, I coach other entrepreneurs often. Like I am helping them with their business through the Bloom Growth System. Amazing. It sits down very well and sits over companies and gives full visibility, accountability. And I really love the system and help people and teams really get better as leaders. And man, when everybody gets better, it's exponential growth. It's a lot of fun. And so we're really enjoying that work. I am the founder of Leadershipity. We're going to talk a little bit about that today and the itties of leadership. And I consult leaders and teams, worldwide. And super excited about heading to Ireland in a couple of weeks and working and being over with EO at the Global Leadership Conference in Dublin. That'll be amazing. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of those parameters that we talked about in leading winning teams, as well as my TEDx talk called the Pain Exchange. And so that's a little bit. Now, one of these weird things about me is that I spent my whole life at the 3%. Now, that sounds weird, but when I came out of playing in college, first of all, I think only 8% of all athletes get college scholarship, right? And then you take it from there, and Division 1 athletes are very rare. And I had the rare privilege of playing two Division 1 sports. So I knew a bunch of the athletes that had kind of gained that real top 3% of a Division 1 athlete. It's a pretty tough deal. And then I went right to professional baseball, where I went to work with 40 millionaires a day. And there's a lot of, one percenters, and everyone knows how hard it is to make the major leagues. In addition to all the kids got drafted and didn't make it, in development. And that's a rare number. Like that's still less than 1% get drafted that play baseball. So it's very, and because it's become such a global game, it's a very small percentage now. And that's very interesting. And then, of course, the entrepreneurs, only 3.4% of all businesses in North America make over $1 million. There are 18,000 EO members worldwide, and every one of those companies is producing companies that generate over $1 million in revenue a year. And so, spending time with those founders and owners who have built those and started that and gone through the challenges of that is another unique space. The other unique space is some of my clients are former high level military, like SEALs and Marine Recon, and all these folks that have been highly trained, which gets them in another section of the top 2-3% of people trained in the world. So it's a pretty interesting world. And so I've always been in this little sliver of this unique deal. And that all started a little bit with when I was a kid, where I had this journey of excellence, this champion mindset, right? I was working as a kid, I was doing all this, and then really focused on sports and athletics, played on a really good baseball team. We did a lot of championships in the summer and regional finals and all these things. And that was a lot of fun going through that with my buddies. And then, from the time I was a sophomore in high school, my high school went to the state championship my sophomore, junior, senior year. And then I went to two national championships in the next 2 years in college in tennis, and then went to two World Series about 3 years later. Went to my first one. So so it was pretty wild, man. So this little 11-year span, I was involved in seven championships, and the first one actually was a winner, and I didn't get to play as a sophomore, and then it got involved with all these other ones, and it was coming down to the wire, and didn't win any of those other ones. Lost the World Series twice in 95, 97 with the Cleveland Indians, part of that program, and great teams and a lot of fun. But man, it was challenging. But that also, when you lost, that really started put all that reflection on. When you win, you don't reflect as much. When you lose, you're like, oh my gosh, why did we lose? What should we have done better? Why are they a better organization? Why did they do it better than us? Why were they better than us on this day? What could we have done different? All those questions to kind of get the holy grail became this audit of like, what does excellence really look like? And so that became a super big mantra for me. And so today, what we want to talk about is this journey, right? Of like when you journey in this in business and your organization and whatever you want to do in this life, let's talk about mental toughness and winning every day. And so, one of the huge advantages that people have that are get highly trained is whenever you're doing anything, whether it's high level music and you get highly trained by some of the best, because the better you are, you get better coaching, right? Like, oh, you're so good, you should go over to the special school like Juilliard, and like, whoa, they have the best in the world at training. Then at Juilliard, you get this hyper learning environment of all these people that are trained up in what's happening, right? And so that's a huge deal, and it's a lot of fun. But pro athletes, special forces, entrepreneurs, these are the three. Like they get hyper learning all the time, coached by the best. There's strict training, there's constant feedback, and there's time management involved. There's a bunch of responsibility that comes into this. And then you have to develop that resolve, being resolute and persevering through challenges. And then the fastest and strongest learning community that you're ever going to see. Because what happens is that when you have these challenges, um, how will you get that right? How will you um, build that into your learning system, especially if you don't have people that are highly trained? And so that becomes the environment, because all these other people were highly trained. When they were the best, they got better training in their community. And then they went regionally and got better training. And then they went nationally and got better training. And then you hit this world stage where you even get the best of the best. And so that is this upper echelon of hyper learning. So it's a ton of fun, but very competitive, right? So one of the things that kind of comes back to all these folks who are in that environment is they really understand the choice. And I love the way Nick Saban talks about this, because he talks about when you have this choice of what are you going to do every day, to do what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, and the way you're supposed to get it done. And I think that's a huge deal. So people have expectations. That's why you're supposed to do it, when you're supposed to do it, the way you're supposed to do it. And the expectations come in that training is what's important. So prioritize. This is what I have to do. And I'm going to make that choice to do it and prioritize it. And this is what I'm supposed to do because everybody's leaning on me for this expertise. Of course, there's always deadlines to things that have to get done. So we have to do when you're supposed to do it. There's a deadline. When is this due? It's also called an agreement. When there's a deadline, now we go away from expectation, we go to agreement. And so you have things on your calendar. I have things on my calendar. I have meetings. I do shows. I do all sorts of different things in my calendar. And those are agreements. So I've set an agreement of when I'm going to meet, when I'm going to be on this show, when someone is going to be on my show. We set an agreement. We record that show or we do that show live. It's a lot of fun. And so we're making a choice, right, to be a part and lean in that agreement. And now we've eliminated some of the expectations and we've made an agreement that this is what we're going to do. And then, of course, there's the way you're supposed to get it done. And there's coaching about, hey, what's the way? What's the best way you do this? How does this look like success? So that is pretty critical when we're making this choice. So it's not just the choice of like, hey, I'm going to get off the couch and do something. Yes, that's important. Cool, way to go. Got off the couch. Love it. Now there's the choice of, okay, what do I need to do? Prioritization. When I'm supposed to do it. Now I got an agreement. The way I'm supposed to do it and get it done. And now we're talking about quality and what that looks like and how we deliver that quality. And so that's a huge deal. If we could get that right and we understand the choice, that's going to be a massive next level. So when we talk about the choice, we talk about the pain exchange, right? This is my report on that I did on a TEDx talk. In the pain exchange, there's two pains in life, right? Pain of discipline, pain of regret. So here's the two choices. You have the choice of discipline or you have the choice of regret. I don't know anybody that lives pain free. I don't know those people. Like I ask people, especially of my age, go, hey, you ever have any pain in your life? Like everyone goes, oh, I got pain right now in my back. Like people talk about all sorts of pain. Oh man, I'm feeling this pain over a sick loved one. I'm feeling pain over being sick myself. I'm feeling pain over losing a job. I'm feeling pain over the stresses that are in my job. And so we do have these pains all the time. I also feel the pain of regret, the pain of not doing something, the pain of not jumping on an opportunity. And those are real things. The pain of reacting negatively towards someone and regretting my actions or something I did in this life. So here's the good news on the pain exchange, right? We have this and there are quote unquote two pains in life, right? And you get to choose. You get to choose. You can choose. Do you want the pain of discipline or do you want the pain of regret? The chain of discipline is a pain that is a acute pain. It's often short term. It's hard. You got to go in. You got to do it. Often consistent. You got to make this choice again and again and again. So this choice comes up a lot. But if you do it, it's short term. You go work out. I've never met anybody who's like, man, I don't really want to work out, but I'm going to choose to work out. I'm going to go face the hour and go get my stuff done. And then after the workout, and they got themselves up, motivated themselves, went and did it, said, man, I'm so unhappy that I went out and got better and got healthier today. I have never heard someone say that after on choosing a discipline that they know is good for them and the right thing to do and the right choice and taking priority. I've never met anybody who said, man, I'm so upset that I chose discipline. I just haven't met it. Now, choice of regret of not doing something, not taking your priorities, not doing what's on your list, treating someone poorly and regretting being angered at someone that didn't deserve your wrath. All those things that are happening, right? Um, that's I think those things that they're quote unquote chronic pain because they stay with us. We make a decision, and because of not having maybe the full information or not doing what we were supposed to, it's like, man, why didn't I get that done? Why didn't I do that on time? And so people often like, oh, I lost my job. I, lost this relationship. Something changed that's very significant. And all of a sudden, this is spiraling into longer pain. Wow, this person that was really important to me is now out of my life, and I regret them being out of my life. And I'm reminded every day that they're no longer in my life. So that reminder becomes this constant regret that kind of funnels back into. So we got to settle that, right? So we can get out of that regret. And not easy to do, and it becomes chronic pain. And we see this show up in a lot of different ways, but definitely check out the pain exchange. There's the QR code. Please go to that, take a listen. It's less than I think 10 minutes. Like it's a short talk, but getting a little deeper into that choice of what you have in the pain exchange and how that really works inside. Like pro athletes are really good at, but even the best in the world still don't make the choice to be disciplined all the time, right? And you think like, oh, that's easy. It's their job. They're required to do it. Yeah, yeah, but like even when I know it, and I'll use myself as an example, I'm a health and fitness, trained professional, and I know what's good for my body. And if I'm fatigued and tired, and I show up at someplace at 8 p.m. at night, and I get into the hotel at 9 p.m. and I'm thinking I don't have my workout in yet today. I need to get down to the hotel gym and get my workout in. You don't think that I would rather order room service and watch a movie and eat bonbons and like not do that? Like, of course, that would feel better in that moment. I don't really want to go after this long day of travel and work and everything else that I need to go to the gym. But that's the sacrifice because I couldn't do it before. So now this is my time and I've got to have that discipline to do that. And so even though people are paid, even though people, this is part of their job, we see people fail at this every day. And I'm sure you have too. And you are not alone on this. So here's, I'll ask you a little work, little homework here. You know, in my book, Leading Winning Teams, each at the end of each chapter, I put in a pain exchange. Here's a discipline you could do. Find this one discipline and take this action today. Help yourself become a better leader. Help yourself become stronger. Help yourself like gain in this world and get to know yourself clearly. And it's a huge deal. Self-awareness is a big deal, right? So here's your choice today. What is the one discipline you need to make a choice on daily that you're not doing very regularly that needs to improve in your life? What is that one discipline that will have the most impact to you, people you serve, the people you're responsible for? That includes your family, the people at work. How can you make one choice on one discipline that will have significant impact? That to date you don't feel like you've been consistent in this, and what would that look like? So I want you to just write that down quickly. Is what is this choice I'm going to make on the daily that's going to be a non-negotiable? Like, and so when it's a non-negotiable, now you've written it down. This is what I'm going to do daily. I'm going to take action on this. A lot of people put this in their calendar. This is something I need to do, and I'm going to put it in my calendar. I'll give you an example of the choice. One of the choices that one of my recent founders made was I need to reach out and really tell my team encouraging things about the job they're doing. And everyone, and I mean it, I need to meet them where they're at. I need to give them specific feedback on some of their to-dos and their quarterly priorities and the accomplishments they've had here at the firm and they're making even on the daily, including this week where, hey, that's great that you added this new client, or that's great that this marketing program got out the door. We're super excited about launching that and all the work that came into that. So what they did was they set their clock for a very odd time in the afternoon. It was like 1:46 or something in the afternoon, and an alarm would go off, and they would stop whatever they were doing. And if they were in a meeting or something, they would finish that meeting, and then as soon as that stopped, they took one person on their team that they'd had contact with in the morning that they saw like, whoa, I'm really proud of them. This is something that's really having impact. A conversation I had, and they either pick up the phone or send them an email to say, hey, Julie, super meeting this morning. I love the way you ran that. I'm so impressed with how you always lead our meetings and get things going. And I can see how the clients respond to you when you do these meetings. It's amazing. You're amazing. You knocked it out of the park this morning. Way to go. Keep up the great work. It's less than a 60-second email, right? Like this is not, or a voicemail on it, like even better, right? Uh, Even better. Pick up the phone and just have a 5-minute conversation with them and just tell them how glad you are that they're a part of the team and give them specific direction. I mean, that's pretty awesome, right? So if you could do that, but I'm just saying you got to do your choice. What's your choice and what's your one discipline? And then put it into action. What are you going to do every day that you're going to do this? Build the habit, right? And if you need to put it in your calendar to make sure it's done, put it in your calendar. You are going to take action and do it. And if you need to add a reminder on your phone that, hey, it's my time to enact my discipline each day, or maybe it's an accountability follow up to yourself. I set the alarm to make sure I've done it by this time. And I go back and audit myself and make sure that I've completed it. That is a big deal. So on the Winners Find a Way show, we talk about our quote, which I love, right? Winners, when shown data that they are losing, find a way to win. I saw this quote in the Four Disciplines of Execution and by McChesney, and I love that book and I love that quote just because I've surrounded that 3%. This is who they are. They are winners, and they have been stuck. They have lost so many times. They have been, stuck in the mud. They have been told no. They have been, beat down. And yet all the data shows that, hey, they're losing and they figure out a way to win. They just don't settle in the fact like, oh, well, it looks like we're going to lose because the data says we're losing and this isn't going to work for us. So they do things different. They adapt. They change things. Let's talk a little bit about that, about what that looks like. Because the first thing that it looks like about winners is that they understand what losing behaviors and they eliminate that. It's maybe a choice in your discipline, maybe something you have to eliminate, right? And so in for losing behaviors, we see folks that have the first deal is that they make excuses. The second is they blame others. The third thing is they quit when it gets hard. And then the fourth thing is they ignore the data. So they just kind of block out the fact that they're losing, keep on doing what they want to do, and they hope it's going to get better. And hope is not a strategy. It's not going to work. And so what I do see with winners is they develop a really good morning routine. They lay out their framework for the day, their schedule. This is what I've got on my calendar. They get some time of exercise, they get some time of reflection, of either journaling or meditation, and they get themselves quiet and they often read something uplifting or something that's really going to put them in the right mindset for the day. And by doing that, they've just garnered and blocked off and removed a lot of the losing behaviors because their attitude's already in the right place. They are ready to take responsibility. They are ready to lean in, not lean away. People that are losing are leaning away, and as they're leaning away, this is why their behaviors show up like this because they don't want to be responsible for their results. The other thing you see in this is that my buddy Jeremy Span. Span is a Marine recon guy. I love his position in the quadrant of death, right? And these are things that are happening to people that are in leader positions, right? We get in these things, and our ego, our entitlement, our blame or shame can get in the way of how we're leading and how we're interacting with people. And so if you have one of those happening in your life, and by the way, this is in good and bad times because ego shows up big when things are great. Like, oh my gosh, look how great I am. Like this business never run better under my direction. I'm doing all things right. I just brought in our biggest client ever. I just made first chair in the oboe. Like, and look at me, I'm kind of a big deal, and I'm rewarded for my weird work and I'm better than everybody else. Ego's a dangerous thing and not easy to keep in check, and we all have one, right? So um, if I'm operating in that, in just the one thing and not entitlement, blame, or shame, it's not good. It's not good as a leader when I'm leaning into this. It's not good when I'm leaning into entitlement, right? And I think like, hey, I deserve this because I've got a big title here at the company, so I'll use the jet for how I want to use the jet and I'm going to choose what I want, and I'm entitled to that. And so there's a lot of challenges right now with people misunderstanding some of the way they've been taught in education, and that people necessarily haven't held them accountable, and now they just feel like they're entitled because they showed up, and that's a challenge that we're going to be facing in the workforce for a while. Um, So what if I have like both entitlement and I'm choosing to blame my counterparts, right? Now I'm operating in two of the four. It's becoming bad. Now this is going to have significant impact, bad behavior, especially from leadership. That behavior is going to flow down. It's also going to tell everybody on your team that it's okay. It's okay to act like this. And so now all of a sudden you've got bad behavior. It won't be long before other bad behaviors because you are modeling bad behavior. What if you go three? I've got blame, entitlement, and shame. Shame, I just feel bad about myself and I don't tell everybody, but my actions are clear. I'm feeling terrible as a human. I'm a bad person. You know, I couldn't hit my numbers. And so now I had to fire Teresa. And she's a great person. And Oh man, I'm the worst. And now there's all this shame I'm placing on myself. Dangerous game, right? So blame and shame, blame on others, shame on me, entitlement about what I'm at. Now I got three going. We are now at a dangerous level in leadership because this is now really filtering down these levels very quickly, and other people are being affected by it, and they're also seeing the behavior, realize if it doesn't get corrected and it's getting worse, it's, tolerance is acceptance, and we're not doing anything about it. So that's a dangerous thing. And then all four hit, and like, watch out, like, this is going to be catastrophic. This is someone who's in a really bad place, and they can be anywhere on your team that this is happening. So getting aware of how this is happening with your team members, especially people of influence that are in the position. And, I think everybody's worked for an unhappy boss, someone who's just unhappy, right? And they like to, it feels as if their one goal is to make everybody else unhappy. That's what it feels like, right? And so, man, when that happens, man, what's going on the inside? The ego is, hey, I'm okay to do this, and I'm in a position, I'm a big a big role here, and no one's going to say anything to me. I'm more important than everybody else, and I can act the way I want. I can act the way I want is entitlement. Like, I do so much around here, they can't say anything to me. Entitlement. Often the unhappy people are blaming everybody else for their unhappiness. Right? It's everybody else's fault. And unhappy people generally are living with shame behind the curtain. That's just something that there's is eating them up inside. This is why they're at that place, and that's usually happening. So if this is happening inside your organization, like, please, 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 like, you got to get these right. You got to have these people, got to pull them out of influence. If they're going to act this way and these behaviors show up, you've got to get them out of influence before you have dangerous or catastrophic situations inside your organization. We talked about a lot of things about how to win. So I love that. Whatever we repeatedly do, we become. And so that's a choice. If I'm going to be consistent with my choices, I'm going to repeatedly do and make good choices. I'm going to become really solid and really strong and really good because I'm always making good choices. And I'm consistent with that. So we're repeatedly doing those choices. Most people in their roles, 82% of what they're doing in their workplace and in their organizations are repeatable. Like, it's regularly repeated. 82% of the conversations, of the actions, of requirements, of what's our process. So whatever we repeatedly do, and at the quality of what we do it, we're going to become that, right? And that's going to be a big deal. And so people trying to get understand that. So the other question is, what am I becoming? So if I'm repeatedly doing subpar behavior, late for meetings, what am I becoming? I'm becoming not dependable. I'm becoming a person who's doesn't feel engaged. I'm becoming a person who appears that this is everyone else is not important. I'm more important than everybody else. So there's entitlement. So you can see a bunch of things that are really drawing in. And so when these behaviors show up and they repeatedly show up, you have to ask yourself, what am I becoming? And because what I'm becoming is how I'm contributing. So if you're becoming something on the lower half, then you're not an adder, you're a subtractor because you're taking away from other people. The impact is becoming poor on everybody else. If you're becoming something stronger and better, you're adding. You're becoming a contributor. You're adding to the organization. You're having impact in a positive way. So are you above the line? You're becoming an adder, or are you becoming a subtractor? Lastly, is we have to own our response and be responsible for our own results. So everyone has a role inside your organization. Everyone has a role in their family, and we've often defined what those roles look like and how you contribute in that role. And so once we understand that, even if it's an unsaid understanding, right? You're responsible for your results. You have to own that role. And now it's up to you to get results in that role. And one of the challenges I see is I think a lot of people want to go, well, my results are all based on everybody else. It's not really based on me. Mm, not usually. You know, we are some of that may be influenced by other people, all those things, but you have tons of influence over that. And there's a thing called the locus of control, right? And the locus of control talks about how you have a level of ability to do something about things that are happening. And some of those unhappy people and people that are being challenged getting results, they do not have an internal locus of control. They believe that it's happening to them, that I am a victim. This is all because somebody else did something to me. They're not allowing me to get my job done. They won't let me advance because of my age or whatever. Start making all the discriminations that you can make across all the boards. But at the end of the day, people are really looking hard at the results. And if you keep getting the results, you're going to keep getting elevated. Because if you get the winning results and the organization's defined what that is, if you keep getting winning results, you're just always needed inside that organization. That's the key element, right? Am I getting the results? Am I being responsible for what's on my plate? One of the challenges I see when I look at people that are in that are going to come work for us, right? They really want to do something. They have a desire. It's great, good start. So now the desire is: are you interested? Are you committed? If there's a desire, that's great. You can have that desire. Perfect. That's a great place to start. Are you interested or are you committed? So a lot of times people talk about their desires and they're very interested in those things becoming a reality. And I always talk about this as a workout, right? Are you interested in losing 12 pounds? So if I'm interested in losing 12 pounds, I have to reduce, calories. I could easily reduce calories by 3,500 calories a week in a deficit. And at that deficit, that's 1 pound. And so over 12 weeks, I could eat right and I could reduce that weight by 12 pounds, right? I could do that. Um, I could start eating better. I could get a personal trainer because I'm pretty interested in losing this 12 pounds. The difference is the committed people are doing that diet. They are having intentional meal plans. So they do reduce the 3,500 calories a week and they are exercising and they are committed to the work that it's going to take to drop this weight. And I like to say interested people are talking, committed people are doing. And I love the way, you know, Nick Saban talks about this when there's conflict and committed people versus interested people, because high performers are committed people and high performers don't like mediocre people because mediocre people aren't always prioritizing. They aren't always committed to the mission. They get lost in the minutia and they don't get results on their role. And so we put those people in a mediocre category when they're only doing some of the work, the things they like and not the other stuff and not the hard things, whatever it is, right? And so he talks about this, that high performers don't like mediocre people and mediocre people don't like high performers. Committed people don't like people that are interested and interested people don't like people that are committed because they're jealous. I mean, I'm jealous of the person who's already gone and done all the work and lost those 12 pounds that I need to lose. I'm like, dang, man, you really went out there and got it done. Like I remember us talking about this at Christmas. Yeah. If if you had talked about this at Christmas, by the way, about losing 12 pounds and then you did a 3,500 calorie deficit since Christmas, those 12 pounds would be gone by now just by cleaning up your diet. That that's a reality, right? And so here's my New Year's resolution. I'm going to lose 12 pounds. Listen, by April 1st, you've been through 12 weeks. You've been through, 120 days or 90 days. The quarter's over, right? So, you know, 7 into 90, kind of get there, right? 84, you would have lost the 12 pounds if you were committed. Here's the caution of this, right? The caution is that people are like, I got willpower. I'm going to stay this thing and I'm going to eat right and I'll do it. It's a lot easier if you've got an accountability partner, someone who's walking alongside with you, someone who's willing to lean in, who's willing to talk with you. This is why people hire personal trainers. This is why they get a coach. They need that accountability partner to make sure they stay the course, because it's easy to get off course. We've all done that. Knowledge is enough. I've got all the knowledge. Listen, if I had and took action on every book I'd ever read that told me how to get better, I'd be amazing. Like, but the reality is I read those books and I get a bunch of knowledge, and then it's like, hey, you're gonna have to take out action. Here's the pain exchange. You got to make that choice. You got to put this into action. And I'm like, man, I'm not comfortable putting that into action. I see you did it and it worked, but I don't really know how. I haven't been coached yet. I can make all those excuses. The knowledge is there. I don't know how. I'm a little scared to take action. I don't want to screw up. Whatever it is. Knowledge without action isn't enough. Like, we got to have that action part. Knowledge alone, not enough. Because the attitude of I cannot do this. We're getting into that caution, and we'll tell ourselves like, oh well, I can't do that. Listen, I love the movie The Edge with Sir Anthony Hopkins way back in the day. Really good movie. Elle McPherson stars in it, and one of the brothers in it too. I can't remember. Losing his name right now, but he gets in. They get caught in Alaska. The plane crashes, and they're all hung out in the middle of nowhere. They got to make it back and get help, and this bear is tracking them, right? And so this bear is like terrifying. And so Anthony Hopkins, avid reader, he's like, listen, I don't know how to survive out here, but I've read a lot about it. And so I'm putting stuff into action that I've read, and I'm using these things from my knowledge base. And finally, he realizes the bear is onto us, and the bear has more resources out here than we do. We're going to have to kill the bear, or the bear's going to kill us. So we're either going to be killed or kill it. So we're going to kill the bear. And immediately the guy's injured, he's hurt, his buddy, and he's like, it's not really a friend, but it's a business associate. And he's like, I can't, we can't kill the bear. We can't do it. And he's like, of course we can do it. Like, kids kill bears. Like, look at this is what it says. Like, this is how they kill them. Like, and people have done it before. And what one man can do, so can another. I love that line. What one man can do, so can another. I just thought, man, that's powerful stuff. Like, if we realize that telling ourselves we can't, but someone already has come along and done it. They've done what you want to do. And so please find those people, talk to them, talk to them about how they did it, what they did. And they write books about how they did it all the time. So check into that, because that attitude and that what you're telling yourself, I can't, I will, are two different things. The person that says I will is a person who always has an opportunity. He always has an option. She always gets another chance, because the attitude is I will get it done. I will take the responsibility. I will find a way to get it done. And I will volunteer to do it. I will step up. And the I will people, we want those people around us. They are doing it. They are making things happen. They're committed, right? And so we see this in many walks. So last thing we're going to do is why you're sad. Sad is what you're going to stop. You have to stop doing something. You have to adapt. This is not working. Or you have to delegate this out. This is not what you're meant to do. Someone else should be doing this, because you're not the best person to be doing this. And this is sitting over you, and you're sad. and you're procrastinating, and all these things are happening, right? So stop it, adapt it, or delegate it. So, what's your one thing? What's your one thing that you just have to remove from your daily? Because it is holding you back. It is causing grief. It's causing challenge. It's the thing that you dread. It's the thing you're procrastinating on. It's the thing you're showing up well below standard, and it's affecting you. So, what will you have to do? Do you have to adapt and get better at this? Figure out another way, because you're not winning, right? Winners find a way. Winners, when shown data you're losing, they find a way to win. Maybe it's something you just have to stop doing. You're not meant for this, and sometimes it's like good that you stop doing. Man, my health keeps getting in my way. I wake up, I don't feel good. Maybe I should stop vaping. Like, yes, stop. It's wait till you see your life once you stopped and adapted, and you replace that with exercise. Like, what a 180, massive turn, right? And maybe it's a delegate. I'm doing this because I think I have to do it because I'm the CFO and it's a financial matter. What if you have a bookkeeper on your team who loves to do these Excel sheets? They love to get these reports organized and they're better at it than you. Like, you don't have to do it because of some title or some role. In fact, because you have that leadership capability, engage your team in someone who does it better than you do. Delegate it out. So get this one thing off your list and change your life, because quality of life is often uh, negated and negative because of one thing that's making you sad, that's stopping things from happening, it's restricting you. And so stop it. How will you stop it? It has to change, adapt, delegate it to someone else who does it better and can move this off, or just stop something negative in your life. Stop doing it. All right. For everybody, next week, I'll be talking a little bit about um, how we really build leading teams and championship teams. And a lot of people talk to me and they say, "Hey, well, I got a championship team." Like, oh, great. Like, how did you get that team? And they're like, "Oh, we put an ad out, and it just so happened that the best 5% in the world just answered our ad, and they're just incredible." Unlikely that that happened, right? That you wrote your ad so good that you just attracted the best of the 5% best in the world at this. So we're not recruiting people, we're not uh, necessarily getting it. And so we're going to talk next week about what's it look like to devise a winning team, and where am I going to find them, and what should I be looking for? What are the things I need to ask to find out if these people are really going to fit into my team? So looking forward to next week talking about it, because that mentality and finding those folks that have that mental toughness and mentality to work inside your organization on what your team values, how it looks to be successful inside your organization, is a big deal. So that's what we will talk about next week. Thank you for joining me, of course, on Winners Find a Way, talking a little bit about our mental toughness aspects and taking a couple things that we're doing today. What's that one choice you need to make? What's one discipline you're going to add into your day that's going to make a big impact on you, those around you? And what's the one thing you're going to stop doing? That you're either going to stop, adapt, do something different, or delegate out. You're going to remove something negative from your world and change it. And it's something that is negative daily. It's affecting your impact on others around you and you especially. So everybody, I look forward to seeing you next time on the Winners Find a Way show. I do want you to know that I always offer a 15-minute meeting with me. You can get that um, in you can find it on my Calendly. It's in a lot of places. You can find it on my LinkedIn. I'm looking for that link right now to my 15-minute Calendly to show you. But if you book on my 15-minute Calendly, you can also email me at trent@leadershipity and just write 15 minute, and I'll send you the link and you can schedule. If you book with me and you do that, I will send you, there's the link there, calendly.com, Trent Clark, 15 minutes. Calendly.com/Trent Clark /15min. And if you do that, I will, if you get on that meeting and you book it, we take that call. Good way to get unstuck. Quick coaching call. Tell me about your pain. Tell me about the challenges you're facing. We can talk through that. I will send you a copy of Flourish, which is the playbook on how we do a lot of things at Bloom to really help scale companies up and get them unstuck. Stop making them, get them out of their sad positions because they don't want to be sad. They want to be happy and they want to be great teams. And so we help them do that. So you're going to want to check it out. And I will give you the Flourish book for free, which is a great little deal. And it's only like a 2-hour read. It is a great little playbook on exactly, and you will get a ton of content out of it. So I look forward to seeing you. Until next time, winners find a way. And every Thursday, you can see us live on LinkedIn Live, YouTube, on the Leadershipity channel, and Facebook Live. And then, of course, that goes off at 10 a.m. on Thursdays, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. And then our podcast goes full drop on Friday mornings with our guests or our shows. You can find those on all the major networks. Until next time, winners do find a way. And please reach out to me. I can't wait to hear from you.